Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, once again, you're welcome to the United Nations Human Rights Day, an event organized by the Society of Petroleum Engineers. Today, we are looking at the topic Advancing Human Rights Through Sustainable Energy Access for All. And of course, on behalf of the Society of Petroleum Engineers Abuja section, we welcome all of our very distinguished speakers, Dr. Helen Emore, Mrs. Sonye Alana, Ndidi Aka, Coach Didi, and of course, Dr. Olusoji Adeniyi, all of our amazing speakers that have decided to share their wealth of experience on human rights. We say welcome. As part of knowing you, can you just do me a favor to all of our distinguished participants? Go to the comment section. Which part of Nigeria are you joining us from? And of course, also help us know what human rights mean to you. I would like to read it out. And of course, my pleasure to also know where you're joining us from. So please just do that. My name is Ofofono No Akman, or Off and On, and my pleasure it is to serve as your anchor for today. A pleasure to have you celebrating the United Nations Human Rights Day on the theme Advancing Human Rights Through Sustainable Energy Access for All. Welcome and welcome to these events. Just in case you don't know, year in, year out, we do this as part of our contribution for SPE Abuja, Solutions, People, Energy. And of course, today we are discussing sustainable energy access for all. So which part of Nigeria, which part of Africa are you joining us from? I see a very first comment from Iyamu. Iyamu says, I'm joining from Benin. Human rights are the essential and universal privileges and entitlement endowed to everyone simply because they are a human being. Yes, you got that right. Are you sure you did not use ChatGPT for that one? Because that is absolutely everything about human rights. Thank you so much to my compatriots from Benin, Iyamu. Okay, Kafayat Adeyemi, our programs just says, fundamental rights to all people, ensuring respect and dignity. Joining from Abuja. I like that. Programs change. Dignity is the keyword day. Everybody deserves respect and dignity. Edna says, good evening. I'm joining from Toronto. Drum rolls. Thank you for joining from Toronto. But I worked in Nigeria Aquatic Hub Africa Network, a global technical director in Abeokuta. Thank you, Edna, and we celebrate your tenacity of purpose and, of course, everything you do for human rights. Welcome, Edna. If you're joining us, which part of the world are you joining us from? And in few words, what does human rights mean to you? I'm going to continue the event, ladies and gentlemen, by making you see our agenda. This event is built to last for 1 hour and 30 minutes. I will start with a safety brief and then I will introduce our speakers. Once I'm done, we'll have a welcome remark by the champion of excellence in SPE Abuja, our section chairman, and then we have the moderator who will do his introduction, and then we head straight to the panel session. We have three amazing women of excellence who would be dissecting human rights for sustainable energy. Of course, Dr. Helen, Mrs. Sonye, and Coach Didi. And after that, you have 10 minutes to give them all the questions you have, and then we have a closing remarks by Professor Kafayat Adeyemi, who is our amazing programs chair. Let's talk about safety. SPE Abuja, Solutions, People, Energy, we are very big on safety. So please, for the course of this event, if you're driving, please kindly ensure to park in a safe space so that you can listen and enjoy all of the discussions we would have today. Also ensure that you leave your microphone on mute if you're not speaking so that you don't interfere with the deliberations you are going to have today. Please, if you're using a phone, don't carry it to the kitchen so as not to have a gas explosion. And I believe you will have a very safe deliberations. As also a few safety briefs, please use the chat button if you want to drop a chat, and of course, C for comments and Q for questions. We understand the situation in Nigeria, our country. Please ensure you can still hear a fire alarm with your headset and be alert and aware of your environment. Stay safe and enjoy your human rights as you also allow other Nigerians also enjoy their human rights. Let me continue the event by recognizing some amazing personalities on call. Please, when I recognize you, you can just unmute your mic and say hi. Let's hear your very beautiful voice. Let's start by saying a warm welcome to our host, our leader, the man that is leading SPE Abuja section to greater heights. Please help me celebrate Engineer Ikechukwu Okafor, PhD on the call. A warm evening to you, Section Chair, sir.
Thank you, Akpan. Good evening, everybody. I'm good to be here.
Amazing. Thank you, sir, for all you do for Abuja section. Also on the call, ladies and gentlemen, is the programs chairman of SPE Abuja. When I say programs, she manages programs like this. Help me welcome Professor Kafayat Adeyemi. A very warm evening to you, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our program this evening.
Thank you. I love your voice and I love how excited you are about human rights today. We have amazing speakers who will do justice today. Let me start by welcoming the moderator. The moderator was the first to join this call today. He's super excited about human rights, just like I am. Ladies and gentlemen, he's a senior partner of Seismic Consulting Group. He was a speaker in our event last year for this event, and today he is a moderator. Please help me celebrate Dr. Olusoji Adeniyi. A very warm evening to you, sir. Moderator, sir.
Good evening, Nigeria. Good evening, SPE. Good evening, our wonderful participants who have chosen to spend your time with us this evening. I can assure you it will be worth every second of your time. We're all here for you. Thank you.
Wow, I love your energy. I love your energy. Please give our moderator some virtual applause. And ladies and gentlemen, up next is another amazing, phenomenal speaker. The second to join the call today. Ladies and gentlemen, she is the founder and chief executive officer of Sentia Partners Innovation Hub. The one and only Dr. Helen Murray. Hello, ma'am. Very good evening to you.
Hello. Hello, everyone. Good evening, and happy to be here.
Awesome. I love your dentition, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am. You look simply adorable. Ladies and gentlemen, also on call is a certified etiquette and image consultant. When we talk about image, when we talk about branding, she is the one that you have to speak to. The one and only Mrs. Soye Alana. Welcome, ma'am. Good evening to you, ma'am.
Good evening to you and good evening to everybody on the call. So good to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Pleasure to have you here, ma'am. And of course, the last but not the least of our speakers, a coach of capacity, the CEO of Camel Academy. Ladies and gentlemen, Ndidi Deogon. One welcome to you, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. Can you hear me?
I can indeed. You can just call me Coach Didi. That'll be fine.
Oh, Coach Didi. Coach Didi, thank you so much, ma'am, for all you do for Nigeria and, of course, the world at large. Welcome, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, we have several board members on the call, leaders and executives from SPE Abuja section. I can see our membership chair, Dr. Generume Ogolo. I can see our treasurer on the call, Nana Rimtim. I can see our YP chair on the call, Chisom Okoye. I can see our students affairs chair on the call, Aisha Digi, and a host of other board members on the call. As a blanket recognition, we say welcome to all of the board members. Nafisa Said, we also welcome all of our amazing, phenomenal senior members on the call. We welcome all of our student members, all of our young professionals. We welcome all friends of SPE Abuja section, SPE Nigeria, and of course, everybody joining from all parts of the world. Welcome. I'm going back to the chat to see what you're telling me on the chat. Okay, I see Martha Osadare, of course, from Disability Support and Rehabilitation Center, live from FCC. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for all you do for all of our disability group in Nigeria, and welcome to the event. Welcome, Aisha. Aisha, human rights are rights we have simply because you exist as human beings. I love that. I love that. Ogundiran Emmanuel, Pastor Emmanuel, thank you for joining. Dr. Helen, I thank you for joining. So, ladies and gentlemen, while we are going to move to the event, please make the chat session as engaging as possible. I'll be coming back to be reading all of your chats and, of course, learning as well. You can take notes on the chat so that we can all learn together. Once again, a warm welcome. Your Excellencies, very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we switch gears immediately to listening to our leader, a man of capacity. When he became section chair, he said that he's going to lead SP Abuja to champion culture of excellence. We will lead in excellence round the 6 sections we have in Nigeria, and he has done it excellently well. Please help me welcome the one and only, the most amazing, the ever smiling, the phenomenal engineer Ikechukwu Okafor PhD, as he leads us with his welcome address. Over to you, Section Chair, sir.
Okay, thank you, Akpan. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Good evening. It's a pleasure to always be here. So I want to say a very good evening to our esteemed members of SP Abuja section. I want to say a very good evening to our partners, our professionals, and our students and young members, and of course, friends of SPE who are here. And I welcome you to the celebration, to the commemoration of the United Nations Human Rights Day 2025. We had one in 2024, and it was amazing. And I can still remember Dr. Olusoji, and it's good to have him here again today. So this year, the global theme is human rights, our everyday essential. What that tells us is that regardless of where you are, regardless of who you are, it reminds you of the dignity, the fairness, and opportunity that we must share, and more so even as energy professionals. And for today, our conversation is centered around advancing human rights through sustainable energy access for all. That's very instructive because it helps us connect our technical contribution to humanity border need. It's with this sense of deep gratitude and, of course, a profound sense of responsibility that I address you. Serving as a section chair has been a privilege that continues to strengthen my resolve and my commitment to lead with excellence and to support every member of our community in achieving their highest potential. Together, we'll continue to nurture innovation, empower our young professionals, prepare our students for a promising future, and deepen collaboration across our industry and within our community. Today's session is enriched by the exceptional individuals joining us. Allow me to appreciate our speakers, Dr. Helen Emore, who is the founder and CEO of Scientia Partners Innovation Hub. Thank you for bringing your depth of insight and leadership to this platform. Mrs. Soye Alana, who is a certified etiquette and image consultant. I want to appreciate you for leading your expertise, and unique perspective to this our conversation. Coach Didi, and thank you for always being an inspiring voice and for championing human development in an impactful way. I also want to appreciate our moderator, Dr. Olusoji Adeniyi, for guiding this conversation with clarity. Every one of you, your presence today elevates this session and makes it even more enticing and enriching. And on behalf of the entire SPE board, we want to say welcome and thank each of you for joining. Your presence today would make this session an amazing one. To everyone that is here, you're welcome. Your commitment continues to strengthen our section. Your support is something we don't take for granted. We are confident that you would meet you and also ensure that you have an amazing session with us. Let us continue to inspire, let us continue to collaborate, and let us continue to remember that human rights is an everyday essential. And what that means is everyone deserves that opportunity for their rights to be respected. Thank you and welcome to this session. Good evening.
Good evening, Capacity Section Chair. Human rights is an everyday essential. What an amazing opening and welcome address. Please, can you give our section station virtual applause? I would like to see comments, picking some tips which he shared during his welcome remarks. To switch gears immediately to the event proper. Please understand that this event is live streamed on YouTube. So you can always go back and refresh your memory. Why is sustainable energy a human rights issue? That is a key discussion we'll be having today. And of course, to manage the entire process for the next 40 minutes, of course, after the 40 minutes, you have 10 minutes to ask question, is a senior partner of Seismic Consulting Group. He is a social development and human capital development expert with over 32 years industry experience in education and career, spanning over 20 years in the United Nations system. He worked locally and internationally, serving in 5 countries across 3 continents, but taking early retirement in 2015 to focus on his lifetime passion of developing human capital and bridging learning gaps. He founded Prime Trainers Africa and Wealthways Consulting as vehicles for sharing knowledge and opportunities for after-service vocation, the Sustainable Development Goals. He believes education is a right and inclusive education across gender considerations are key to genuine global transformations. As a consultant, he supported the Federal Ministry of Education and the World Bank on early grade reading assessment, early grade mathematics assessment, education sector analysis, transforming education systems in states, national technical and vocational education, and the National Skills Management Framework review process, amongst others. He serves as the regional consultant on human capital development, HCD, for the 6 states and South-South region under the HCD core working group of the National Economic Council in Nigeria since 2021. He is a climate change advocate, an education reform champion, and the United Nations certified Six Sigma trainer and development expert. Ladies and gentlemen, drum rolls, help me welcome our moderator for today, a senior partner at Seismic Consulting Group, Dr. Olusoji Adeni. Please
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's really a pleasure to be engaging with Nigeria this evening as we celebrate the Human Rights Day. The United Nations Human Rights Day is a day set aside by the United Nations globally to celebrate human rights. And this year's theme actually focuses on the rights to energy as a means to an end. And I always say something about energy. I said energy is relative, and energy need is also relative. If I live in Antarctica, for instance, or I live in Iceland, for instance, and I have a power cut of 1 hour, and I cannot eat, the room. My heater, my boiler goes down for 1 hour. It could be a difference between life and death for me. That's how energy is important to people who live in that space. Compared to a man who lives in Zamfara, and the main energy need for him is his ability to be able to cook his meal, to have a day's meal. That's another right for him. He has a right to food. But then there's a need for energy to be able to, make the cooking happen. So energy needs are relative across global needs. And of course, if you ask me, everyone that thinks to talk about energy needs to think through what it means for their individual needs. Energy could mean transportation. Energy could mean powering very critical infrastructure, hospitals, and the rest of them. So that's where energy comes in. And that's why we must think seriously about managing our energy needs. And today, I believe that we're in good hands. We're in very safe hands with the speakers that have been carefully selected this evening to join me in the conversation. And of course, as was rightly announced earlier, we have very, very, very interesting speakers that have been carefully selected for this purpose. We have, of course, the very important and extremely conversant Dr. Helen Hemore, who is the managing partner and founder of Santia Partners Innovative Hub. Please put your hands together as we welcome Dr. Helen Hemore to the platform this evening. Dr. Hemore, I will be speaking with you in a moment, but please allow me to also introduce Mrs. Sonia Anala, certified etiquette and image consultant, retired but not tired, from the global energy company Total Energy Group. And of course, Coach Didi, as we call her, Mrs. Ndidi Edragon, who is also joining us this evening to be part of the conversation. The conversation promises to be very, very interesting.
Uh-oh. Looks like we lost our moderator.
This is part of the energy challenge.
Yes, and that she's gone out. Oops.
We shall
Okay.
summon him.
Sincere apologies for the
It
transmission.
happens. We're used to it. No problem.
Maybe while we're waiting for him, I could quickly share the screen so that they could see, our participants can see all of your profiles while we wait for him to join. The first profile on the screen is that of Dr. Helen, who is a secular economic advocate, an accomplished venture builder and project development executives with over 30 years of experience managing complex projects and fostering sustainable development across various sectors, including international NGOs, corporate and public sectors. Welcome, Dr. Helen. Nice to have you here, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here. Very happy to be here.
Yes, and Mrs. Sonia Alana, a certified etiquette and image consultant, a protocol expert, a public speaking coach, and a corporate trainer. Over 20 years of experience as a career diplomat, and served as the first female director of protocol to the Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo. Please, can we celebrate her, please? This is capacity. Wow. I like celebrating women of very first. And of course, we have a woman of many firsts on the call. Welcome, Mrs. Sonia. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Wow, if you go down, you realize that she's not just fluent in English, but she's fluent in French, German, and is a distinguished toast master. Amazing. Of course, the last but not least is Coach Didi. Coach Didi, welcome. Is our moderator back?
Not
Okay.
yet.
I guess he's still trying to come back. Coach, is he back? Are you back, sir?
I guess you're the moderator today, man. He's not here.
He's on now.
Okay.
I see him back.
Coach Didi, widely known as Coach Didi, is an accomplished international lawyer, administrator, and educator with a global footprint with fluency in multiple languages. Wow. The other speaker also has fluency in multiple languages, same as Coach Didi. Coach Didi, which languages can you speak apart from English, ma'am?
French, Russian, Romanian.
Awesome. Welcome. Over to you, Dr. Olusoji. Over to you.
You're muted.
You're muted, yeah.
No thanks to technology. I was on my laptop and then the video refused to come on, so I switched on to my mobile, and even from the mobile, I still got disconnected. So technology, but I'll do my best to try to, stay put on these and hoping that it will, continue to give us the results we want to have. Let me start by engaging with Dr. Hemore. Dr. Hemore, if you are there, how can oil companies and oil and gas companies generally reconcile their traditional business models with the global push for more sustainable energy access as a human right? What are your thoughts around this?
Okay, so good evening, everyone. I'll stand on existing protocols, but thank you for inviting me. My first reaction was, what am I going to be telling them? But in preparing for this, and Soji, you're a bad person. In preparing for this, I went down memory lane. My earliest memories, I'm from Delta State, so my dad lived in Warri, and my earliest memories of oil and gas industry in Nigeria was that from our compound on Agaga layout, I could see one light every night, just flaring bright. I said, what be this thing? So someone said, oh, now refinery be that. So we always know whether the refinery is working by the gas flaring. And I dare say that this is one issue that has been a source of complaints in the Niger Delta. The other thing I remember is, I'm from the Niger Delta. My mom is Shekiri, my dad is Robo. So every summer we had to go by boat to Brutu, Ifie, different places to visit my mom's kinsmen. And we would go past these houses, I used to call them then, these houses on water that had lights, that had electricity. But when we get to our destination, we had no lights, we had no electricity, no modern amenities, no good roads. And we had to walk with lantern, go to the river to have our bath, fetch water and everything. So in terms of business modeling, what is happening now has always been with us since oil was first discovered in Nigeria. And I really do not know why it is possible for the oil companies to have such modern facilities right next to primordial and primitive amenities. I'm talking of the 70s, from like 75, which is the earliest I can remember, up until maybe 1985, when my auntie died and we stopped going to the village. The story did not change. We always saw we saw the houses on water, like I call them. Now I know that they are rigs and they had lights, nice things. And then when we got to our destination, whether it's Ifie, whether it's Butu, whether it's Orugbo, we were staying with lanterns, right? So it has to change. You cannot compare this to what happens in other jurisdictions where the resources from oil and gas has been used to develop entire nations, entire regions. So for me, now that we're talking about human rights, I'm saying the right to not being discriminated against, the right to equal opportunities, to dignity, to well-being, to a comfortable life. Why can the host communities not have the same level of infrastructure that the oil and gas companies have? I'm talking of this at a micro level in terms of host communities. Then you now expand it to the bigger nation. Why do we now I'm panicking. I have my inverter on. I hope I do have it on. And I've given instructions that once the power goes off, if the inverter does not come on, they should put on the gen immediately. I have 3 devices. I have my laptop. I have one phone here. I have another phone here. The 2 phones are on 2 different networks, right? And then my laptop is on a different network so that I do not break off, because I speak a lot online and I have to make all of these infrastructure arrangements so that I can have seamless experiences. So when we talk about human rights, it is not far. It is happening to us. I'm sure all of us here have more than one device set up. So we need to address the basics. Why can't it work in Nigeria? So in terms of business modeling, I think let's just deal with the basics. For me, I don't think we should be looking for any prophet or any rocket science. Just give me the basics. Give me power. Give me good roads. Give me clean water. As I was here, I was chatting with the plumber who is going to come and fix the filter. I mean, just give me the basics. That's what we need to be asking for, because sometimes we complicate these things. And this is also probably why we haven't solved most of our problems. I just want water. I just want light. I want security. That's all I'm asking. If you give me those things, I can do anything. I can think well. I can be creative. So in terms of modeling, the oil companies have their own. But then how about us as a nation, as a people? The oil companies cannot do everything. I don't want to speak too much because I just suddenly realized that I'm at home in this place. I was managing director of Warri Industrial Park for 8 years. So I was building an infrastructure project in Delta State. And I know what I went through. But I want to pause here by saying that we need the basics. What does it take to give us the basics? Just give us the basics so that if I have to go to Orugbo or go to Ife and take my son with me, whatever we see on the way, on those rigs, on those houseboats, that's what we will see when we get to our destination. And at night, there'll be constant power and there will be good roads. That's all I'm asking.
Thank you. You see why I brought you in, and that's why you say I'm a bad guy. No, I wanted an home girl to tell us the story from that perspective. So thank you. And let me go to Coach Didi. Coach Didi, is energy a right? What's your thoughts? Is energy a right? What's your thoughts around that?
Energy, oh God. Well, I do a lot of stuff with youths, right? So I teach leadership programs with the youths. And when I was thinking about this this talk today, I initially thought of the SDGs because that's what I teach them, the SDGs. And the whole idea is that energy isn't a right theoretically, but it's more of an enabling right, because it refers to what's essential to human dignity. So I would call it a de facto human development right? I guess I could break it down for you. I was going through some research because I always want to come prepared with research so that we can talk on data on this issue. So if you're thinking that energy is a right that I am, it's more of a development, what data would support me on this issue? And all of Nigeria seems to be involved in this whole, yes, the youths are important, they're a very core part. There were statistics from UNFPA that said that 63% of Nigerians are under 25, right? So the median age is 17. The median age of all Nigerians is 17. And so that is basically saying that the opportunities of the youths are hinged on access to energy. Because without energy, we can't do anything. When young people are disconnected, they're not just disconnected from electricity, they're disconnected from opportunities because you need power to do everything. So when they say it's energy a right, I'm like, yes, because it's developmental. It's at the heart of all the rights that we want to do, all the SDGs, SDG 4, quality education, SDG 8, decent work and economic growth, even SDG 16, peace and justice. Because when places are dark, you don't want to be coming out when places are dark because insecurity is like way up there. There are studies to even show that. So energy is a right because it's hinged on so many other rights that are essential to human dignity.
Thank you, Coach Didi. And let me go to Mrs. Alana now. Mrs. Alana, you worked with the oil company for several years before you retired, and you were basically engaging with communities and trying to get the rights of the communities protected while you were doing your job managing human relations and community relations. What partnership between the oil and gas companies and government and NGOs and communities are most effective for advancing sustainable energy access in your thoughts?
Okay, thank you very much. Number one, I'm coming from 3 different directions.
Thank you.
The first direction I'm coming from is that I'm from the Niger Delta.
Excellent.
From Opobo town, which is a little island of 3 square kilometers just at the Atlantic Ocean. I was in government. From the government perspective, the very helm of affairs. And so government speak when it comes to the oil region and what should be done to them. Number 3, I've got an oil and gas. Exactly, and I have from my place. I'll come to that later because maybe when we speak about historical grievances. But apart from that, from the oil and gas perspective, I have been to the places of devastation. I've been to Ogoniland and seen firsthand what the devastation has caused there. I have been there with top government officials. I've been there in my capacity as an oil and gas executive. So could you just rephrase that question again? You're muted.
I just want to know, how you manage the relationship between the oil and gas institution that you represented at that time and community engagement. We've heard all kinds of stories around chiefs taking responsibilities and not actually passing the largesse down to their community.
Yes. Now it's a very tricky thing. The truth is that it's very good, and I think it makes both government and the oil companies feel good that they have done something, they have engaged in corporate responsibility. But the truth is this. Let me give you a concrete example. That is now the oil company I worked for. We built a hospital, not just a hospital. We built a hospital, huge hospital, fully equipped, got all the equipment, state of the art from Paris, etc. equipped. 1, 2, we built access roads, right, in our host community. Or we tried, let's say we tried to build access roads. Number 1, we were stopped. We were stopped by the community because they said that that we have to settle them, right? We have to settle them. Fine. We said, okay, all well and good, no problem, we settle you. Then they said, okay, that we have to use people from the community to execute the contracts. We said, fine, give it to the community. And what happened? Nothing. Right? Nothing. Because they were, number 1, ill-equipped. Number 2, they were greedy. There's an entitlement mentality that has come in. And then so they didn't have the technical expertise, know-how, nor the requisite experience to even carry out anything substantial. So that was left undone. As for the hospital, I don't know about today, but as after the time I left, it was still empty because they said, okay, that we should provide the doctors and pay them. Now, you see, when we talk about human rights now, I think it's a two-edged sword. When help comes, I mean, this help was genuine and it was massive. Do we now actually want to be helped? Do we actually want to be helped? So our engagement too, yes, was with the community leaders, community chiefs, and they would say, okay, it's our community. It's this family, it's that family. They would bring different families and whatever, and make us pay huge amounts. You cannot imagine huge amounts, but when you go to the community, it didn't get even to the immediate family members, not to talk of anybody else. So
interesting.
Yes.
Interesting, Mr. Lara. Thank you very much for bringing our insight. Let me go back to Dr. Amara. Dr. Amara, you've been in the circularity space, where we talk about waste management, waste to energy, and the rest of it. And one of the critical issues that we have faced as a country, lately is recycling. We've got a trending video that went viral a couple of weeks back, where we were talking largely about the battery recycling industry, where they recycle lead. And of course, the entire community is beginning to be poisoned somewhere in Ikorodu in Lagos State, Ogijo precisely, where the lead factory that is, recycling these batteries, which of course we cannot run away from as alternative energy sources. We're thinking solar. Solar is backed up by, batteries and the rest of them. How do you think that, the government can manage these circular efforts in the economy to be productive, to respect the rights of citizens, especially communities where such industries, may be situated, and their rights to life in that environment? Thank you.
Okay, so when you talk about circularity and circular business models, The stage we are in Nigeria now is the stage where we need to educate all stakeholders. And so I want to commend Coach Didi on what you're doing in terms of educating people on the SDGs. The SDGs capture the world's most wicked problems, you know. So it's something that we all need to understand. It's also important for as many people as possible to understand the goals, the targets, and the objectives. And what I say to people when they come to me that they are looking for business ideas, as I go and read the SDGs, they'll say, why? I'll say, you see, in the SDGs, there are all of the world's problems. Take one target and you will find a business model. Because if you can solve one of those problems, you would have created a business that actually has a waiting list. People will be, as they say, then they rush you, you know, they just rush you because you're actually providing a real solution. So in terms of circular business models, I think the phase we are in now is education. People need to understand circularity. When we talk about SDGs and we talk about circularity, what comes to people's mind is charity, is grants, is donor funds. People do not see opportunity. I say to people that, look, the cost of capital is very high. The cost of fresh raw materials, I put in fresh, means raw materials is very high. The cost of extraction is very high. We have very limited resources in the world. So that means we're going to run out of resources if we keep using them in a linear way. It therefore becomes very important that we intensify efforts to educate people on circularity. It is a huge industry, and that's why we at Scientia Partners, we are committing a lot of resources to partnering on education and showing business opportunities. It's not about grants. I've worked with entrepreneurs who were in one line of business. I mean, I'll take someone like, what's her name now? Kazi Kits. You can check her. Kazi Kits makes uniforms and shoes, right, for security companies. By the time she came on the program that I was a facilitator and coach on, we taught her about circular business models. Now she's making recycled bags from recycled materials. She's getting them to recycle security uniforms, recycle security shoes. And her business, the circularity business has overshadowed the security uniforms business. The circularity business has taken her all over Nigeria. Now she's lecturing in Rome Business School. She's been invited to speak all over the world. There's Planet 3R. The same thing, what she's doing she's using the Ashoke technology to repurpose waste materials. So circularity is a big industry. The way people talk about SDGs, right, is, let's save the world, let's save the planet. For us as Scientia Partners, when we talk about the SDGs, we are saying, listen, we have a lot of raw materials that we can use to create opportunities for ourselves. We don't need aids, we don't need grants. I don't even need any grants to push circularity as a business model. I have somebody who is in furniture. She's making throw pillows from circularity, and she's sold out. She's in 14 stores. She says that every month, and say, Helen, I can't call the amounts. It's like, that is too much. Or somebody in fashion. So circularity is huge. I just wrap up and say that circularity is in a part of us. I had a car, the fan belt got caught. We just bought a brand new fan belt. And we took the car to Ladipo. And Ladipo is the hub, in fact, the greatest hub of circularity in Nigeria. I dare say Africa. See what they are doing with used motor parts. And the guy said, Madam, don't buy brand new one. Buy used one. The used one will last past the brand new one. You go use them for like 2 or 3 years. That's circularity. Change my bumper. Circularity. Madam, not buy brand new one. Buy the one where they don't use before because it will last past the new one where then they make now. So that means even the scarce resources that we're talking about, the new ones are not as good as the ones that were extracted before. So for Coach Didi, your work is, you have a lot of work to do. So
Thank you. I'll go back to Coach Didi. Coach Didi,
so that this unemployment you are dealing with is real. And then for people like Coach Alana, the world needs to hear your experience, because people just sit down and vilify the oil industries like they've not been doing anything in the past 50 plus years or so. But there are stories behind the story that we can't just tell everything we see on the field. They say if I can talk everything we see for frying pan, people don't go chop pan. So let me stop here so that
Sorry, babe.
Yeah, like
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Mara. Always a pleasure to have you and the insight that you bring to give us clarity. I'm going back to Coach Didi. Coach Didi, you work with the young people, and I'd like to ask this. What should the oil companies, the oil and gas companies, what should they be doing to promote energy access, especially on global sustainable, goal 7, which is access to energy, to clean and affordable energy? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like focusing on solutions, because I tell the youth that I teach, because they just complain. I mean, the adults, the youth, we all just complain. Nah. And I listen, and I go, okay, so after all this, what are you gonna do about it?
What's
How are you
next?
gonna solve it? Let me give a bit of a background. In the research I was doing, I found out that for electricity access, yeah, let's focus on SDG number 7. Nigeria scores 61.2%. I'm like, that's really good, but we're okay. But not really. See, everything is relative, right? So I'm like, 61.2%, great. Well, this is okay. And then I check out Afghanistan. Afghanistan, 85.3. I'm like, wait. And then I check out Bangladesh, 99%. I'm like, hey. And then I'm going to Cameroon, next door, Cameroon, 72%. Ivory Coast, 72.4%. This is based on World Bank figures, right? On the access to electricity. So I just want to give that background before I talk about the entrenchment of why the youth should see it as a right. Because energy poverty is really deep, really, really deep. Where young people lack energy, there will be weaker STEM outcomes. SDG 4, completely messed up, right? There will be insufficient engineering talent. So for you guys in SPE, SDG number 9 innovation, you would have dumber people. I mean, yeah, basically. You would have lower productivity, you would have rising social unrest. So if energy collapses for young Nigerians, the long-term talent pipeline for petroleum engineering will collapse with it. This is why it is so important for this body to know that SDG 7, affordable and clean energy, is foundational for youth development and for everyone. So what should we do, right?
Yeah.
All companies. All right, so I'm thinking 3 things may basically come to mind. The main thing is you need to create awareness of this, right? We have the Electricity Act 2023, and it decentralizes energy distribution, energy generation, right? So there are opportunities for the oil and gas to create mini grids, to create hybrid grids, right? To collaborate with organizations like me, right? To advocate leadership programs, to promote quality education, and also this local content development. If they can do this, then they create some kind of ripple effect in society where people realize that, you know what, SDG 7, we need to focus on this like emergency, because without that, all the other SDGs just fall apart. We need power. We need power. So those are the main things. Just create awareness, partner with, like, I promote a lot of SDG 7 advocates, because
I understand, Coach Didi. My point is, sometimes we need to also bring it back home. We recently had a lot of massive push for conversion from petrol fuel cars to compressed natural gas, CNG. And everyone went in that direction for some time. But we did not build the right infrastructure that could distribute the CNG. So if I have my car running on CNG, I have to prepare to go and queue in the CNG station for at least 3 to 4 hours before I can fill my CNG. We had trucks who were destroying our roads, who were, relying largely on diesel to convert to, CNG. but those trucks block the road for every location that you have CNG stations because there are not enough, discharge points that were designed into the SDG point. So when you are filling a trailer, a trailer, it's on the average about 30 to 40 meters length. So you need a station that can at least have 3 of them at the same time on a literal line or on a parallel line that you can fill at the same time in order to. But now go to Airport Road in Abuja and see how they have destroyed that part of the lane where the trailers are trying to get CNG. So the rights of the people in that area are completely violated. The rights of the drivers, who are driving those trucks to, enjoy the mode of transportation and job that they do is grossly violated because they spend close to half a day before they can fill and take a trip. So these are all interconnectivity, and I'm expecting oil companies not to leave it to governments, not to say this is just, logistics challenge. No, they must take it as an holistic human rights, challenge to provide energy to us to be able to make our logistics more feasible, which moves food, to our tables, and which is interconnected with almost everything that we do. So it's not just restricted to them producing or refining, but distribution networks are extremely important. And of course, if we say we are moving from petrol to CNG, then CNG infrastructure needs to be available for us to deliver it in order for us to genuinely enjoy ourselves. Thank you. Let me go quickly to Mrs. Alana. Mrs. Alana, you spent, a substantial part of your professional life in the oil and gas industry, and I'm sure you just told us a very sad story of how the communities engage with the oil companies. In your thoughts, way forward, what do you think the oil companies, with the hindsight of your experience now, what do you think the oil companies should be doing differently? How do you think they should engage, in the areas, especially in the extraction space? Ellen just described the scenario, and you are from the Niger Delta as well, so you know what flaring does, you know what methane does, you know what, the entire pollution that takes place in that space, you know what it does to the community. They are supposed to be fishermen, but the oil in the water is not making the fishes to survive. Aquaculture is not being taught so that they can move from traditional fishing to commercial fishing using aquaculture and modern technology. What do you think we should be doing differently, Mrs. Alana? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Personal story for me.
Yes, as we round up.
my whole family are fishermen, and it happened because in on the river, Opobo, the Imo River, where they used to fish happily, they would paddle out with their boats early morning, go fishing, come back. Sorry, they'd go, at night and come back early in the morning. Now, everywhere, the oil companies started putting up signs, danger, no fishing, danger, no fishing. So my uncles hung up their nets and died.
Wow.
Just like that, because that was their livelihood gone.
Hmm.
Now, what could the oil companies do? Because you see, they were using fishing boats. They were just using boats, and initially they would paddle, and then eventually we got the motorized, what we call flying boat, the speed boats, right? And they would go out in those. But the paddling boats were still actually the major boats that they use for fishing. Well, now what could maybe oil companies do better? They could have maybe gotten them together in some form of a consortium to get trawlers, get them to, maybe to have shares and all that, and then share the
proceeds.
Yeah. So because those were left high and the fishermen were left high and dry. Secondly, now because I think by nature we are greedy. There's such a thing as we need to follow the money.
Yes.
So anywhere that the oil companies would invest, in any area, you have to just follow the money to ensure that whatever the money was released to is actually being used for that, and that it gets to every single person that it is meant meant for. I think what they did initially was just to give it to the chiefs and felt okay, they didn't want to ruffle feathers, give it to the chiefs, and then they went away and said, okay, we've done our bit, let's go. But it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way in reality. So we need to follow the money to the very last, and also not just, you see, this idea of oil companies are rich and that they expect people to just throw money at them. No, not so. It should be measured, given out where and, as necessary in order to get the maximum results. And, I really like what Coach Didi said, and also Dr. Helen,
Mara.
because, because number one is to ensure that they have an understanding. It's not just that they sit down with expectations, but number one, give them the necessary education, inform them, and ask them to provide the solutions. How do you think we can help you? And then, we stick to that. And then also, this thing that I've lost my train of thought now. There was something that Dr. Helen said earlier on, that about I've lost my train of thought, but like literally like taking them, what's the word now? Just making them more responsible.
Responsible for what they deliver, yes.
Yes,
especially in the communities.
Yes. It's very, very key, because everybody sits down there complaining, but the point is, what are you going to do about it? What can you do about it? And then especially for the youth, what Coach Didi said is very instructive, because you see, when we think that most of our population are youth, all we have now is institutional memory, or that we can pass down the history. But the
Yes.
youth are the ones that are going to live with it. They're the
Absolutely.
ones. You won't believe that in my community, we did not have electricity until last year. Last year they were celebrating that in the Popo town, that the whole place is lit up. Now we have light. In 2024, I mean, can you beat it?
Almost 50 years later.
Yes. We are living like in the dark ages. You'd get to a Popo town, no light. They would still walk around with kerosene lamps and put lamps on, and now a few people that had the
Sure, Jaja of Opobo will roll
would now get what do you call it, solar or whatever. But it's ridiculous. It was just last year that we had light, and then now we are sitting in oil, swimming in oil, literally. So
thank you, Mrs. Alana. This is instructive, and I believe that the oil companies, should take a cue from that. Like I was saying, traditional fishing is probably not the way to go in those areas anymore. Aquaculture will probably make it. We can have artificial streams, and we can even have ocean fishing, like you said, with trawlers that are specific, and they can go deeper because they can have collaborative fishing that reduces, their exposure to the risk within, the rig area and the rest of it. Thank you very much. I want to thank each and every one of you. But before we go, we need to hear from the audience. Please, if you have a question, this is your time. You can either type it out or you can request, if you want to speak, please indicate by show of hand, and I'll be happy to bring you on. I haven't seen any show of hand yet, so let me go to Dr. Emore in the meantime while I'm waiting for questions and from the audience. Dr. Emore, in the circularity space, especially with oil and gas industry, the fact that we are having pollution as a major challenge, especially with polypropylene, which is a fallout of the materials from petroleum and other industries. What are your thoughts? What should young people do differently? What should the petroleum engineers be thinking about in terms of how we can reduce this and keep our oceans slightly better than they are at the moment in that space? So circularity beyond recycling.
What we need to be doing in Nigeria as a whole is improve our first education. I can't stop talking about education, because if the foundation is faulty, you can't do much. So we need to really work on education and review our curriculum and make it more market relevant. So we need to review the kind of education we give children from primary school up until secondary school, and then tertiary, they make their choices. And then secondly, it has to be a collective effort. And I say this because when you watch the current educational system that the entire world has adopted was developed by the earliest industrialists in America. It wasn't the government that developed it. So every time we throw this thing at the foot of government, I think we are just shaking responsibility. All of us must remodel our businesses to be relevant to solving the current problems we have in Nigeria. We need to teach people that there are opportunities. We need to let them see that there are opportunities. A lot of people, especially those who are like at the bottom of the pyramid, they don't know that there are opportunities. When you hear people talking now, what they tell you, I want to jackpot, right? And they tell you Nigeria is finished. Meanwhile, there are people coming from China to Nigeria. There are people coming from all over the world to Nigeria. We have the responsibility to educate the people, show the opportunities, and I give them platforms to innovate. There are a lot of things you can do with recycled materials. Those are the things we should be doing. We should be having more hacks, more hackathons. We should be having more challenges. We should be having more laboratories. We should just give people opportunity to experiment. Those are the things we should be doing. There is no way you will tell them these things when they're already formed. They will struggle. So we need to improve our engagement with people and stop waiting for government. The government can do everything.
Thank you. I completely agree with you.
Position.
The government cannot do everything. I say a question. Good afternoon. I have two questions. That's coming from, I think it's Onye. Okay, let me just read the question first. I'm struggling with my sites. So, good evening. I have two questions. How do we balance climate goals with cultural preservation in indigenous communities? How can youth be included in shaping a just energy transition? Thank you. Who's going to take that? Is Dr. Mora comfortable taking the first part, the cultural preservations in indigenous communities in particular? I know you like.
I'm very comfortable saying that. You know, secularity has been with us since time immemorial. I grew up in Lagos, right? And I remember the Paro people. They used to come, take your old clothes, take them back. You know, some of those old clothes, they had to reweave them and use the loom. So we have a lot of rich culture that we can build on. We need to stop talking about our culture as if it is archaic and irrelevant. We need to build on our culture. We need to bring innovation to our culture. We need to modernize our culture. You know, we need to bring some flavor in. This requires critical thinking. It requires creative thinking. It requires innovative thinking. So how can we do things differently? There's something called Scamper, substitute, right? So you need to know how to substitute. You need to adapt, make in another way. We need to teach people how to think. For me, Nigeria is it's a beehive of opportunity. Right now, there's nothing you can tell me.
Thank you, Dr. Mora. Let me add that we need to actually, because the second part of the question is how can the youth, engage in a just energy transition? I just gave an example of conversion of petrol vehicles to CNGs. Youths have a huge opportunity in that space. That space is still green, and less than 1% of Nigerian vehicles have transited. And that's an energy transition that is real, is urgent, and we cannot wait. So engineers who learn that technology now will continue to have very busy, experience for the next 10 years or so. The next person is saying that Ogijo under Shagamu local government in Ogun State, all the recycling companies have polluted the air with their dangerous chemicals. Thank God for those who speak out for the people of Ogun State. But the people are going through a lot in that town. Yes, because, a lot of companies there are recycling lead, batteries into solid lead for export. And of course, there are supposed to be air control regulations. The factories are supposed to be fitted with treatment, facilities, which some people in government are responsible for monitoring. But as citizens of the country, we are also responsible for calling out, individual agencies that are not doing their job. There's Federal Environmental Protection, team under the Ministry of Environment. There are state ministries of environment that are supposed to be responsible for all of this. Of course, these companies claim to, hire people and all of that. But we're seeing unimaginable level of lead in the blood of primary school pupils in that environment that is going to affect, their mental capacity in the future, because we're poisoning them with lead in the hair through, the combustion factories in these recycling centers. So a lot is going on there, but all of us need to keep talking about it. We need to draw the attention of our governors. We need to draw the attention of our ministries of environment and ensure that, we start doing citizen journalism and writing about it until we get the right attention. And young people who are involved in recycling, we have to do responsible recycling. Dr. Ellen talked about conversion and the thinking around what we can do differently. For instance, I was at an event where I spoke about Ashoke. Ashoke weaving traditionally came 100% from cotton. We have run out of cotton now, and they're now using polypropylene. And in the polypropylene space, we need to understand that we can use even recycled, plastics to convert to materials that we can use in order to build, some of these fabrics that we can, instead of relying on fresh materials, we can recycle, and young people can be largely involved in that process. So I think this is good news for those who are listening for the first time and understanding that the circularity space is still green. A lot of opportunities are there, and we need to take full advantage of it. So thank you, each and every one of you, for all that you have done. I genuinely appreciate you. Thank you, Coach Didi. Thank you, Mrs. Alana. Thank you, Dr. Amore. We see that you are really the home girl from Warri, and I didn't know that Mrs. Alana was from Opobo town. Jaja of Opobo was one of my favorite, history experience, in primary and secondary school. So now I know that I'm connected to you because I love the history and the stories around, the King Jaja of Opobo. In a nutshell, I think we don't have so much questions because people understood what we were discussing, and they probably got the gist of how this has come out to them. So at this point, I'd like to thank each and every one of you who have participated. Please hang on as I return to the host of this event so that we can go on towards closing session of the program. Thank you again, and we look forward to having you at our next webinar. Enjoy the rest of your evening as I hand over to the host. The host, are you there?
Yeah, maybe there was an energy.
Akpan, where is
Yes, Akpan, are you there? Okay, I don't think we lost him. Okay, so Professor Kafayat, are you there? We need your closing remarks now.
Yes, but a few things before the closing remarks.
Yes, I was just waiting for someone to take charge. So please go ahead now.
Yeah, so I will take charge now. So thank you so much, my esteemed speakers. We've been listening to you passionately for like 50 minutes. And for me, there are some takeaways that I have taken from this session. One, follow the money. And that means ensure the projects you've put your money comes to a right conclusion. The right thing is being done. Then Coach Didi said energy is a de facto human development right. It hinges on so many other rights. That's wonderful. And then Dr. Amaran said, we need the basics. So it's really been wonderful having you share your experience with us, your leadership, your awareness creation among youth, Coach Didi, your work on circular economy, Dr. Helen, and then your expertise, Mrs. Sonye, with collaborations in the Niger Delta area. Thank you all so much for sharing your experience, and we did have a rich conversation. And with that, I really want to sincerely thank you for taking time, because I know we all have tight and very busy schedule. I can tell that from Coach Didi. I have a workshop today. I'm like, oh my God, you just need to come on board. Dr. Moren, Mrs. Sonia, my big brother, Dr. Lusoji. Thank you so much. So I think with that, I call on Akpan now. You take the next item on the agenda, which is the networking. Oh, he said network kicked me out. Are you in now?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
So take over. I've done the closing remarks, so.
Okay. We thank you to all of our amazing speakers for taking our time to share all of your wealth of knowledge on sustainable energy for Nigerians and Africans. A quick announcement for those that are members of SPE, please, you can renew your membership if you have not renewed your membership. On the 31st of December, all of the membership expires and you have to pay something called a reinstatement fee. So please ensure you renew your membership before 31st December so that you can enjoy events like this and all of our future events. Please take a screenshot of what you see on your screen so that you can inform our membership chairman, Engineer Ogene Rume Ogolo, Dr. Rume, and he will guide you on renewing your membership. We are live on all social media platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, X, formerly called Twitter. You can always go back and refresh your memories on all of our events. And of course, our biggest event for the year is the NICE 2026. Please submit your abstracts. Abstracts will close on 9th July. We close our abstracts on 9th of January 2026. So ensure you get all necessary company approvals and submit your abstract. And so we come to an end of today's event. Please turn on your video cameras. Let's have a screenshot and see your amazing faces. Please turn on your video cameras. I can see our moderator already, a very handsome man. Thank you so much, sir. I can see Coach Didi already, amazing, phenomenal speaker. Thank you so much, ma'am. Of course, I can see Sonia. Thank you, an amazing coach. Thank you so much, ma'am. So please, all of the other speakers, Dr. Helen, I see you as well. Please turn on all of your video cameras. Let's all take a screenshot of this for the gram, for social media. When I say SPE, you respond with culture of excellence and smile with your thumbs up. So when I say SP Abuja, respond with the words culture of excellence with your thumbs up and then you smile. Thank you. Please on your video cameras, let's do this